Hello community! 2025 and you see finally I want to implement some AI agentic system. I want to work with agents much more. So there's some brand new development, but more about this in 2 minutes time. At first I want to show you there are free courses that you can take. You know, here, for example, AI Agentic Design Patterns with AutoGen with Microsoft. Enroll for free. Remember AutoGen here from September of 2023, where we had for the first time this agent idea, customization, multi-agent conversation here in a very simple form. Or we have Discourse here, if you want to go with Amazon Bedrock here from AWS, serverless agentic workflow. Or maybe you prefer to focus here more on the agent memory functionality here. Beautiful course here. Or if you want to go here with multi-AI agent system with a particular implementation by a startup company, why not join here a free course and get familiar with see here 2 hours 42 minutes. You will learn a lot of, but all of this are rather specific. Talking about specific, you even have from NVIDIA building here RAG agents. Now you might say, RAG agents still in 2025? Well, yeah, this is an NVIDIA course, but you know what? It is free. For a limited time only, but currently it is free, and you learn here about everything about here the agent and the tools necessary for the NVIDIA hardware environment. And the course outline, if you're interested here, LangChain, Gradio, LangServe, dialogue, embedding, semantic similarity, guardrailing, implementing here factor stores. What interesting, you can pay for those. Isn't this great? But now let's come to the brand new topic. And there is a brand new idea, because imagine we would have a company like HuggingFace. HuggingFace, you know, 400,000, 500,000 AI models here online for you, open source. And you know, whenever we choose a model like here, a Llama 370B Instruct, it is so easy to deploy. But just we click here, Inference API, and here, let's go with Python or JavaScript. I go with Python from the HuggingFace Hub. You just copy this code, and this is it. You can use it on your system. You just need here an API key by HuggingFace. This is free of charge, no credit card, nothing. You just put it here, and you can use here, for example, here the Llama 3.370B Instruct. Isn't that great? Or you go with deploy here for inference endpoint if you want to have the inference deployment here for your production ready. You know, this looks like here. We have our Q1 2.5 coda I went with, and then the hardware configuration you can choose from AWS. You can go either to Microsoft or you go with the Google platform, whatever you like. Let's go here. You have the American. Yeah, let's stay with an American. And you see here already everything is ready for you to be implemented, and you pay for, I don't know, 48 gigabyte here of VRAM. You pay close to $2 per hour, and if you go up to 100, you pay $5 an hour. Interestingly, in Ireland here, you can go up to 640 gigabytes here, but then it's really expensive, $32 an hour. But if you need this, if you need 640 gigabytes of VRAM, 8 A100 GPUs, you see it is already completely implemented here in the HuggingFace environment, and there's nothing complicated anymore. So imagine this company would now say, you know what? We look now for 1.5 years at the different agents that are using the core LLMs. And now we decide we want to provide for the community also our own agent. A very simple library to build agents. And they decided to publish this just 2 days ago, at really December 31st, 2024. So brand new thing. They call it Smolagents. Great. You know what? They have now the beautiful strategic position. They know all the mistakes that were done maybe by all the other implementation. Because if you start with a particular set of implementing rules, you have to be compatible if you go next month. But if you start brand new, like yesterday, you know exactly what it was working, where are the problems, and how you do here an optimization right from the start. And this is the beauty here by this implementation. By HuggingFace, I will show you the GitHub. It is an Apache 2.0. It is open source. You can use it immediately. So if you want to learn 2025 now, and you want to say, I want to implement now operational agent, and you say, is there a simple library that is on the latest level of technology in the implementation, and where I have examples and a beautiful explanation, I think you should definitely have a look at Smolagents. Is it fair to all the other implementations where you have seen here so many beautiful courses and everything? You know, this is the latest AI technology implemented here, knowing all the problems. And I will show you here now the technology, because especially if you're working here on a scientific domain, this will have significant advantages for you. Let's just jump right into it. So we are here at day 1 of those Smolagents. So therefore, this is really the very beginning, but there's some beautiful documentation, there's some beautiful examples. So yes, let's have a look together. I just want to give you here in 30 seconds why I like it. Because we have a rather compressive guide that is available if you want to learn here about the Smolagent schema for building, running, and this is the nice part, customizing here your intelligent agent in a real simple way. This here, you can go with a minimal agent configuration, or you can manage multi-agent system in a way that is really exceptional. Of course, you can create custom tools for all your agents. You can have a task hierarchy. You can have specialized agent. And I want to show you this because if you have more complex tasks, this is really nice for some particular reasons. And yeah, you have visualization, interactive communication, because yeah, it's a Gradio-based interface available for you right at the start. You have a real precise task guidance, because there is a special system prompt to tool integration I want to show you. But there is something nice you can have here, an agent adaptability regarding the tools that you will choose. You can build a hierarchical multi-AI system right out of the start. You can specialize for all the different subtasks and whatever, optimize for performance and resource usage, and you can create and integrate custom tools easily. And especially if you like coding or you have a scientific application and you have custom tools, you need custom tools, this is so easy to do this, and I want to show this to you. We have Gradio, I showed you this, yeah. You visualize here the agent reasoning, the execution, and the memory retention, enabling here a beautiful intuitive debugging. If you remember your LangChain at the very beginning, there was a little bit of a trouble, but this is now all implemented right out of the start. And if you do some specialization, and maybe not in this video, but there's something like a managed agent object that I will show you. And this encapsulates here to build the agent with specific roles and specific tools. There's a high degree of specialization. Also, if you want to have here with memory, and if you remember my last 2-3 videos where I showed you there, we were working with some memory optimization. Yes, exactly. This is now the right tool for this. So let's start here with an introduction, and here we go. And you know, HuggingFace is so nice. They start, hey, what are agents? You know, come on, let's start from the beginning. And they say, hey, our agents, our Smolagents are multi-step intelligence. So they have an LLM at the core, agents. So it's not just rule-based agents. And they are designed to perform tasks through the React framework. And you know this is the reasoning and acting framework, step by step. So each step consists of a sort by our LLM, followed by a specific tool call by our LLM, and then the execution with intermediate observations feeding into the action. Now they define here, if you want, 2 main classes I want to introduce you. But first we have the multi-step agent, the base class. And then we have the managed agent for multi-agent system. But I think let's stay with the base class as a first start. And we have multiple models that we can have here now. And they start with 3. So we can use HuggingFace Inference API that I just showed you at the beginning of this video for an easy integration. Everything is on the HuggingFace platform. You don't have to do anything. Everything is downloaded automatically for you. This is just beautiful. If you are going with the transformer idea, you remember the old transformer.agent. This is now depreciated. Now we go here with this form of Smolagents. So you can use here the transformer library locally. And if you go with light LLM, more than 100 models are already supported with light LLM models. So user can also in addition define custom models to fit specific needs in a very simple procedure. And this is why I would say, hey, all those other agent implementation, 1.5 years ago, a year ago, half a year ago, they were only going another step, better, more performance, easier. And now, I know it is kind of unfair to show you this, but this is the reason why I have this channel. I want to show you the very latest technology, and this is now available for you. So I kind of feel sorry to the other models, but hey, if you want to go with the latest, with the most, and I will show you how you can optimize this for your custom models, I think, and it's so easy, so why not show you this here? It differs from the traditional agent-based system, the other systems I just showed you. It has a better flexibility, a better multi-agent cooperation, better modularity. We have an enhanced safety feature, interactivity, all is there. But let's start now here with the multi-step agent with the base class. And more or less, if you start, I would say you have to focus on two agents, the CodeAgent and the ToolCallingAgents. And you know what? Just between you and me, the real beauty is here in the CodeAgent. And then we have a beautiful ToolCallingAgent connect to the internet connector and a database, everything where we need a JSON schema. But we don't have JSON at all in the CodeAgent. And this is great. So let's have a look at this. Officially, it follows here the reasoning and acting framework. So the agent iteratively thinks, acts. Now, by generating a Python code, it observes the result and refines its strategy until the task is complete. And there are a lot of parameters we can optimize. I will show you this in a minute. But here is the simplest form. This is our class here of our CodeAgent. And we have now tools, the model, the system prompt, the specific grammar, additional authorized imports, planning interval, and some safety features. Let's have a look at this. The tools tell us here from the small agent tools, it's a list of tools available to our agent, default. I told you, this is HuggingFace. So whatever model you want that is on HuggingFace, I think close to 500,000 models. So I'm sure you find one model that you like. Will power that agent. Nothing conversation, nothing whatever. It is right there for you. System prompt. The system prompt is the secret powerhouse here because you can customizable initial prompt structures and that provide you the agent with the context, the rules, and the instructions. We'll talk about this in a minute. Then we have here additional authorized imports. And this is what I like here because a list of additional Python models that the agent is permitted to import in its generating the code sequences. And yes, you get it. This is it. Yes, this is if you are working here with any other Python library in science. Imagine, you just say import. Yeah, grammar, a set of rules for constraining the code generation, properly formatted output, everything. Yeah, this is so nice. But look at this CodeAgent. So what it does, this small agent here generates and executes Python code snippets dynamically. And this now enables, and this is kind of the beauty here, the integration with the Python's extensive libraries. I don't know how many libraries in Python exist and all the Python toolsets, but you just can integrate it with a very simple command. Let's have a look at this. So we say, hey, from small agent here, we have our CodeAgents and we go with the HuggingFace API model. So we just say, hey, HuggingFace API model, the model ID is exactly from HuggingFace, Llama 3.3, 70B instruct. And then this is our model. And then we say, hey, let's build the agent. So we have our CodeAgent from the small agents. The tools we leave at the beginning, we say, well, let's leave it empty. The model is defined here. And then we say additional authorized import, Python specific. Let's have a mathematical module that we import. And then we run a task. This is it, you just say agent.run, and there are multiple modes, I show you. But your task is now, hey, what is the square root of a particular number? And we have here the integration. And this, I think, you remember the LLMs we were talking about, and I was telling you, especially causal reasoning or mathematical reasoning. It is so difficult for an LLM, even for, 600 billion parameter model, to solve a mathematical task just by large language modeling. It would be so better if you simply have a calculator attached, if you simply have another Python library attached to do all the calculations. And now we can build this. And look, this is one line. In total, you have, 5 lines of codes. And now our LLM has a mathematical calculator attached. You see, I like this new technology. It is so simple, but I think it's beautiful. So it uses Python libraries. You can import your pandas, you can import your NumPy, you can do an analysis of the data set, whatever you know, and now this is an agent. And you don't have to do anything with any JSON formatted whatever. It automates here the workflow by integrating and managing automatically Python-based tools. I think great, gorgeous. And this is especially if you work in technical domains, where you have already a Python ecosystem, where your computer simulation, or maybe in Python or C++ or whatever, this offers you significant advantages because you just put in additional authorized import and you have your computer simulation or your numerical whatever, and it is just integrated into your agent if it is somehow compatible to Python. And now you might say, okay, so if this is only Python, but I have to make external calls, no? I have to have here my function calling, and this is only in a JSON format. And you're right, and therefore we have the tool calling agent. This particular tool calling agent from the base class of Smolagent specializes now in generating and execution JSON-like tool calls. And whatever you need for an API interaction, for a database query, everywhere where you expect structured input and structured output. So 2 agents that work beautifully together. Let's have a simple example here. Our class here from the Smolagent, the tool calling agent. We have here a list of possible tools. We have a particular model. We have a system prompt. I will show you the dynamic of the system prompt a little bit later. And this is it. So the agent now writes its real tool calls in its structured JSON format instead of the classical Python, but I just showed you. This is now more or less standard. Makes it easier to integrate with external systems like REST APIs or structured data pipelines that you know. And this tool calling agent now, together in tandem with the LLM's ability to choose here the appropriate tools, formulates now their particular calls in a JSON format. So the LLM now more or less decides what tool to use and formulate now the calls in the particular required JSON format. So you see, you have now a dynamic that is not there if you have a JSON template. This is why working together is now so powerful. Let me show you this in a simple comparison. Here we have our CodeAgent, that's this in Python. And here we have then the tool calling agent, second one, in JSON-like calls. So execution style, direct Python, structured tool invocation, the use case, anything computational or code-based task, anything you can code, any numerical simulation, anything in code runs now here in the CodeAgent directly. And the tool calling agent has a structured task, its API integration that we know. We have here now another add-on, another bonus is the flexibility. We have here the complete Python ecosystem access. And with the tool calling agents, we have our clear predefined structures. We know exactly how to connect to external systems. We have predefined, clear, communicated data formats. Safety, you have an restricted import, you have a secure Python. I'll show you maybe there are some environments you can use. And for the tool calling agent, classical, structured JSON, reducing here the risk for anything else. So, kind of summary, this tool calling agent now complements the new code agent that is now the new diamond here, because it really codes immediately by focusing on the structured JSON-based workflow. And together, those 2 agents demonstrate now the flexibility and the extensibility of the multi-step agent class within our Smolagent framework. So the particular new technology implementation that is directly codes opens up completely new dynamic agent systems. Modularity means other specialized implementation here could be developed easily. What you know as a chat agent, what you know as a data pipeline agent, designed for multi-step data transformation or the classical ETL task, and you build a vision agent real simple. And all the models are available on HuggingFace. They have on HuggingFace, talking about HuggingFace, a beautiful documentation I highly recommend as the entry point. Smolagents, here you have the link, tutorials, then you have everything. Building good agents, you have here the code examples they give you. You have here a Colab notebook for you, works great out of the box. If you have in Colab some problems, you have here an additional and introduction to agents. Have a look at this. This is real nice. And then you have a guided tour of small agents where you get also code examples that become more complicated and more complicated every step. And I say, the best agentic systems are the simplest one. So simple does not mean that it's not powerful. But if you design a simple system that is based on a new technology implementation, because it really makes sense to provide your core LLM in your agent with additional Python ecosystems, other libraries or whatever you have, the system becomes, although it is simple, so much more powerful. You have to experience this. And you remember, it's just day one, but never mind. If you want then, there are some examples if you want to have a more deep dive. As I showed you, real nice ESQ 2.5, the Coda32B instruct model. If you really want to go deeper, you have here already by HuggingFace here, by the small agents here, a pre-existing DuckDuckGo search tool that they provided for you. But you can also create your web visit page tool here from scratch, and they give you here all the code. It is open source, and I think it's beautiful. And they show you here, for example, if you click here, build your own multi-agent system in this simplified but powerful version. I like this one. So here, if you compare now this new with all the other agent frameworks, or most of the other frameworks, in general, I know this is now a real general statement. The other ones are based more or less historically on OpenAI JSON schema. Why? Because 1.5 years ago, OpenAI was more or less the only one providing here the performance of the LLM. So everybody looked at OpenAI's structure, at OpenAI's schema, at OpenAI. How is it compatible to OpenAI? Today, 2025, this is not anymore the case because we have beautiful open source models that are not restricted here to the OpenAI JSON schema. We can go much more dynamic, much more flexible. It is not that the other is bad, not at all. It is just, this is a new technology, new possibility, new chances you have. You can have, instead of a rigid schema-defined tool set that you have to use here, because you are based on the OpenAI schema, you have now a dynamic Python function-based tool schema. Your use cases are computational tasks, dynamic workflows where the LLM decides on the tools. Compare this to real absolute structured API and databases. Customability is here, really high customability for the prompts, for the tool, for everything. The classical systems are limited by static schemas. Now, don't get me wrong. There are beautiful, intelligent coder out there, amazing people, and they say, yeah, okay, I have a static schema, but I can find a workaround. I can add a module. I can build something in specific uses. But, this you have here already with the base integrated. So, yeah, maybe you have a look here at this new agent system. I told you I want to tell you something about this integration, about one of the key aspects I like in particular. And this is here the system prompt and the tool description integrated. You know a system prompt, yeah? Textual instruction that sets here the initial context, the rules, and the guidelines here for your specific large language model, for your agent. Provided here, guide its behavior. You have a description of the task-solving approach. You have specific instruction how the agent should interact with the tools. And most important, you define here, you really state here, this is the input format, this is the output format, this is what you're working with. Now, in the small agent, okay, but since we are now moving here to a dynamic tool set, So whenever you initialize an agent here with a list of tools, you can either set 0, or you have already here some standard tools that you use. And these tools are essential predefined functions, utilities or action that the agent can call itself. The LLM decides, I need this agent now because I have the description of the agent. I know the input and the output format here. And I call now as an agent this specific tool to solve a task. And since this tool description are now dynamically added to the system prompt in our small agents, when the agent is created, the LLM can now use this description to understand how to effectively call the specified tools during its execution step and when is the best time to call a particular tool. Interesting. I have to try this out in the next days, in the next weeks. I can give you a feedback how good this is, but I like the idea that it's dynamically. Yeah, powerful framework, handle a variety of tasks in a flexible and customizable way. I think we got this point. This now is really, I think, interesting here for more complex and especially for a dynamic task where a detailed control over how tools are applied and how the agent plans and execute actions. Now, let's make it clear. If you have a static case, when you say, hey, I know exactly what our agent should do, I predefine every action, I predefine every schema, there's nothing that might come and say, oops, there's a problem. I'm absolutely static. I just want to have this done here in a to-do list. Then go with the classical agents. No problem at all. They are beautiful. They are great. But if you say, like in science, maybe the result of one of the numerical computer simulation gives you a result that is strange, that doesn't fit in a predefined JSON schema. So it goes back to the LLM, and the LLM looks at this and says, hey, wait a minute. I got an idea, hopefully. And then it can start here with another dynamic task that is not predefined. So this is where really the intelligence, quotation mark, of the LLM comes in. And the LLM decides to take a different route, to go a different path down in trying to find a solution to the task. So this small agent doesn't just call tools in a rigid format like in the classical ones, but also reasons about which tool to use at what time here based on the context, based on the inputs, and based on the available options it has. So you see, very short summary. It's more or less a teaser. I just want to make you interested in something new. I know they're established players and they have beautiful commercials and they are all over the internet with YouTube. But you know what? There's this little company, HuggingFace, that runs more or less the complete open source here distribution of all 500,000 LLMs, and they have now agents. And I think especially if you work here in more complex tasks, if you work here in scientific ecosystems, I think those small agents could bring something to the table that is really interesting to watch for the future. Should you go right now at day one? If you like it, yeah, go for it, because it will develop in the next weeks, in the next month. Would you use it right now? I would be a little bit more careful. Wait maybe a month, maybe wait 2 weeks and see. I just look at here at the GitHub. You see they're really a dynamic team. I'm looking forward to what they will build here. And yeah, now they have a chance to optimize here really to specific user needs. And it is integrated into the HuggingFace ecosystem. I think this is like Apple, it just works. You don't have to configure anything. So real nice. But the other two are all the other agent system, they have their strength. So if you want to have a deep dive here, I give you here small agents here. You have here all the Python file here. If you want to look here in particular at the agents, everything is available for you. And yeah, maybe I should give you here the entry point here. HuggingFace, small agents, beautiful. Apache 2 license here. You see only 17 are watching here. Just released now 2 days ago. My goodness, I'm 1 day late. 2 days ago. And you have here all the examples. You have all the notebooks you can try out. Maybe you just play around a little bit with it. I think the idea and the technology, how it is implemented, could give it really an advantage over all the other systems, because you don't have to build workarounds and increase the complexity of your system. You can start new. You say, hey, I built something completely new. I built on the current technology with the current ideas, and I don't have to be compatible 1 year back in time to my old systems. And I think this is the beauty if you start something new. So I hope this is it for today. I hope you had a little bit of fun. You found some new interests. And I just want to tell you, if you want to learn agents, and it's always a good idea to implement agent really in your workflow, you can go with so many different agent platforms. But also if you want to go here for the new idea by HuggingFace, they spend months developing this. And I think it really has some interesting points where I would say for a scientific work, you should definitely put this in your basket of AI systems, of AI frameworks that you want to explore before you decide which framework to use. If you subscribe, I will see you in my next video.